Imagine growing up in one of the most beautiful places in the country, living in a city that's one of the most progressive anywhere in the world. Then imagine being 18 years old and being accepted to one of the best business schools and universities that the USA has to offer. And then add on top of that, you get to be a pitcher on their nationally ranked college baseball team. For University of Tampa pitcher Jackson Shembekar, that's his story. Or maybe we should say part of his story. He's not just that college athlete. He's also a guy who gets to pull up to class or to the field in his Ferrari. And no, this wasn't a gift from mom or dad. This is a Ferrari he earned on his own, because he went to work at age 15. He got into the world of cryptocurrency.
And do what we can in the big blue chip projects where there's a lot of spreads to take advantage of. I mean, stuff is moving all the time. And even though crypto's like 10% on these like less than week time frames, it's like NFTs are even more than that.
By the time Jackson Shembekar graduated Jesuit High School, he was a self-made millionaire. He became the crypto kid.
However, for me, striking out somebody on the baseball field, doing something where I get to compete at a high level, at a collegiate level, it's far more rewarding than closing a deal still. And I'm not saying that closing a deal is not rewarding, but I think that level of physical competition is still unmatched, and I think it always will be.
It's not uncommon for University of Tampa baseball players to turn heads, largely due to their success on the baseball field. But for Jackson Shembekar, he's also turning heads on Wall Street. In fact, he was recently invited to the World Trade Center in New York City to be part of the East Coast Family Office and High Net Worth Annual Conference. And he wasn't there to take notes. He was there as a presenter.
You have to take a step back and say that the only thing you're responsible for is producing the results that they expect. And I know that that's tough, especially when you have a bear market and certain factors that are out of your control, but that's where I'm going to lean on chapter 3 of the book, right? I think competency becomes key. And if you're not competent enough and you're not ready to handle the expectation of someone else's money, someone else's burden, then you're not ready to handle that money, right? And I'm not saying that I'm ready or I'm not or anyone else is ready, but when you build that skill set, you have to be confident enough. And when you are confident enough, then I think that you can handle other people's responsibility.
Okay, thank you, Jackson.
Thank you.
Mitzi, same question to you.
Okay, and a quick editorial comment. You're 18, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm 81. We've got
There we go.
the numbers reversed.
Yes.
But I'm lost in admiration for your approach. I will tell you briefly my approach.
Yes, 18-year-old Jackson Shembekar was presenting to millionaires and billionaires. Seated next to him presenting as well, the legendary Mitzi Perdue. Her family founded the Sheraton hotel chain, and yes, it's the same Perdue of Perdue Family Chicken. She was so impressed with Jackson, and certainly this proved to be one special day for the kid from Tampa, Florida.
Into a decent portfolio now, and then the question is, what is next, right? And so as David pointed out, I'm really thinking, what do I want to do next? I wrote a book last year, that was great, launched it in January, might hit a bestsellers list, that's great, but all these accolades don't really attribute to anything meaningful. So that was kind of what is the next step, right? And net worth is just a number, right? So moving forward, the big ideas were kind of philanthropy and how do we get involved with that. And a project that I've been involved in very well, and we have representatives here today, was Akshay Patra, and I have been involved with that for 4 years, just as I've been involved in crypto for 4.5. So it went hand in hand, and as I grew as an individual, I grew more and more involved in the organization. And I spoke a couple months back at the Miami conference with DC Finance actually about the organization, and I'm very passionate about it, and the whole key there was that no child should be deprived of education due to hunger, right? And that was a very big thing that in the United States, we often overlook. Thank you. It's very good because we're in a massive bull run right now. The apes are projects that I've been involved in now for almost 6 months, and I know that sounds like a short time frame, but they've only been around for 12 months, right? And so they haven't really been a thing, and they caught fire for the first time around the December time frame. And I own 3 of them. I own 2 rare Kennel Club dogs. I'm in the Doodles project. I might get some mutants soon. I have some serums. And again, a lot of this sounds like a foreign language, but it's absolutely crazy because the floor price of a bored ape is $400,000 at the moment. So to say that the market's increasing is belittling it. It's doing really, really well right now, and the Bored Ape Yacht Club itself, year to date, is the best performing asset. Yeah.
And like,
it's huge.
Yeah, right now, like I work with Baron Davis.
Okay.
We're creating all of the Hall of Fame cryptos, everything with the league.
That's great.
Along with those from the Fortune 500 world was Najee Good, a Super Bowl champion and one-time draft pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shebakar and Good hit it off so well that they could be working together in the future. While Good is here to make his mark, he's looking out for players who come through the NFL, making sure their futures are secure.
That's what we're to speed it up. And you know, the NFL, everyone knows they do anywhere from $15 to $25 billion a year. And the focal point of that is the athlete. But the athlete can't make it without the business. So the transition that I try to put myself in is understanding how I could take what I've done in my career and extend those principles and properties of, you know, understanding what the rigors have taught me about, you know, simply being to a meeting on time, or actually developing a proper play or a scheme that everyone can see and everyone can understand.
Most amazing of all, with all these gifted, talented people coming together at the World Trade Center, is it really wasn't about making more money. It was about making our world better. And a kid from Tampa, Florida is certainly doing that.
It's really, really spectacular. I mean, I first got invited to this place, and this is the World Trade Center. This is New York City. This is Wall Street, right? This is the capital of the financial district in America, subjectively speaking, right? I think it's a really incredible place to be, and to be a presenter, to be a speaker is absolutely amazing. I get to talk to high net worth individuals, family offices, and present about a topic that they don't understand in the hub of America. I think it's very powerful.
While the World Trade Center is the financial capital of the world, this event was not simply about investing. In fact, the one lesson we can all take away from even watching this story about Jackson Shembakar is the message that Mitzi Perdue delivered at the end of her talk.
But I'm lost in admiration for your approach. I will tell you briefly my approach. I have noticed, because I'm making it a specialty to figure out what makes family businesses last, that when you get it right, it's just a great big engine for creativity and warmth and happiness and meaning. You get it wrong, and the misery pervades every hour of every day. So I'm a huge proponent of the idea of doing what it takes to develop a culture that keeps your family together and that kind of pushes aside selfishness and the great giant answer which you're all waiting for of how you push aside selfishness. And what I'm about to say is backed by academic research. There's a man named Dennis Jaffe whom I'm quoting in this. Families that last to the 3rd generation have discovered philanthropy, that you're happier when you're giving back than when you're grabbing. Or to quote my late husband, and it's my last comment, but he used to say, if you want to be happy, think what you can do for somebody else. If you're really set on being miserable, think of what's owed to you.